All right, so we've got Caden Cribbs here from Brightview Window Cleaning. They did about, what was it, $150,000 in Christmas light installs last year?
100, yep.
Okay, 100,000 last year, trying to scale up this year. All this video is going to be is Caden has prepared a bunch of questions for how I would scale if I were him in a Christmas light business. For anybody with context that doesn't know who I am, I own a temporary Christmas light business. Last year, we did a little bit over $800,000 in top line at pretty solid margins. So that's my first business I ever started. It's the one that we do about 400,000 a month over 2 months, and Caden is going to get a little bit of sauce here on how to scale his. So Caden, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, Steve. So, yeah, obviously, like I said, this is my second year in business. The first, we killed it for not knowing anything and for literally just putting yard signs out, which is crazy. So, yeah, I got a couple questions just to kind of put yourself in my shoes to see who we are and what you would do if you were back into our shoes, because obviously we want to grow like you and be somewhat in your shoes in the next couple of years. So, first question, yeah, I'm excited. So, number one is, what should my actions right now be for one, marketing, for two, and we'll kind of go in different orders, but marketing for Facebook ads, yard signs, and ordering everything.
Okay, so let's start with, what did you do? Like, instead of just like going from scratch, let's build on what you did last year. So you had a pretty successful first season. What was your customer acquisition funnel last year? Let me run through it. And I'm going to look at this screen and take notes, because then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take what you did and then tell you whether that scales to where you want to be, or whether we have to get a little bit more automated and stuff like that. So I'm going to be taking notes on the screen, so just keep going.
Perfect.
Tell me everything you did last year for marketing.
All right, so ready?
Yep.
From start to finish, I bought 50 yard signs and I put out 35 yard signs, and that's all we did.
Okay, what was on the yard signs?
Christmas light installation.
Your logo?
It was a red background and it was rimmed with Christmas lights. We put them at busy intersections and places that we knew were going to do returns because of the type of people that live there, obviously money, and two, older people also. So we destroyed in that market, and then really as soon as someone saw us installing, we just get the next door and the next door and the next door. So we didn't even do door hangers or anything like that. It was literally just people driving by, stopping, walking to that person's house and saying, "Oh my gosh, your Christmas lights look bomb. Where did you get them done?" And
Okay, cool. And so were you putting yard signs in people's yards last year?
No, not even that.
Because you weren't even in Home Service Accelerator last year. Okay.
No, we weren't. I had no idea. Like, this is brand new.
Okay, so you did 50 yard signs, and then you marketed to your window cleaning customers, I'm assuming.
Nope, not even them.
Okay. So
We just the yard signs, no marketing, no reaching out to people, nothing. To be frank, I sold our first Christmas light job without knowing like where to buy the Christmas lights, how to put the Christmas lights, like anything. I was like, I'm gonna see if it's a good market. And yeah, we got our first like $2,500 job. I was like, all right, well, crap, we gotta actually learn how to do this now.
Got it. Okay, so 50 yard signs, and then word of mouth took over from there. Talk to me about word of mouth. They would come up to you, like when you were installing, did you have an A-frame? Did you have anything like that?
No A-frames, nothing. They would just, we probably only got like 3 people that would come up to us and say, hey, I love this. But most, probably 95% were from signs.
Okay, so signs works really well for you in your
absolute killer.
Okay. Got it. And then give me do not exaggerate, do not lie. Give me the actual numbers, because this context matters. So you're installing commercial grade product, right? Like, you're not doing like Home Depot stuff. You're doing commercial grade product.
We bought them at Lights at Wholesale. That's all we bought from.
Okay, so commercial grade.
Yep.
Okay. What were you charging? What were you buying your product per foot on C9s on roofline?
So
like, let's say it's put what, $2 a foot, $220
yeah,
a foot?
so it was $1,299, so $1,299 for 1,000 feet.
And you were buying packages with clips, bulbs, all of that?
Big ones, yeah. So the $1,000 like starter packs. So we were paying $1.299 a foot.
You divide 1,000 by that, because you're paying $1,299.
Yeah, $1,299 divided by
1.29. Okay. Yeah. So, and that's C9, correct?
Yep. Yeah, I did a little bit of research, and everyone was like, do not touch C7s.
Okay, and who are you buying them from?
Lights at Wholesale. And so we bought them early this year. We bought an extra 7,000 feet. at $1,000 a foot, or $1,000 for
Okay.
1,000 feet.
And so you were just buying the $1,000 pro packages?
Yep, exactly. With the lights, the bulbs, the clips, the wire, the connecting wire, everything.
Yeah. Okay. So you're about 1540 now. Like for if you're buying them now, it's 1545 on their website. I assume you have an account. So is it about that again?
Well, like for what we just bought?
Yeah.
No, we bought them like as soon as last year or last Christmas ended, and so we got them at like $1,000 for 1,000 feet. So now we only.
$1 a foot.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Now I think it's 1,300.
Okay. So let's just call it $1 a foot for your C9 stuff right now.
Perfect.
Okay. Cool. What were you selling it for?
I was doing $8 a foot.
Good.
So we plan on, and maybe this is a good question. We plan on doing 12 like later in the season and 10 starting again right now.
Yeah, just going with demand. That makes sense. Okay. And
What?
then were you doing cactus wraps, trees, bushes, anything like that?
We did cactus wraps. I didn't know the benefits of it, honestly. But every time I try to sell a tree, for one, measurements were so hard to get. I'm like in the tree doing like the around it and stuff like that. It was a couple, like sometimes a couple thousand for a tree. So people would just be like, no. So
Okay. So what were you buying strands for?
those ones were the Home Depot ones. So
Okay.
to be frank, I don't know. I can't remember.
Okay, I'm just gonna go on your vendor's site. If you bought 6-inch spacing strands, warm white, and this is just at their pricing, so like it could change, but let's just call it $15 a strand that you're buying for right now. You can get that a lot lower, but let's call it 13 because I know you can get it down to there. So let's call it $12.50 a strand.
Perfect.
So big thing for you is if you're gonna do strand wraps, and your price is, let's call it $12.50 a strand, you have to understand on the strands is that people see the $12.50 a strand and start pricing. Now I get the strands for a lot cheaper. So for anybody listening, you can get them cheaper. But if you're doing a tree that takes 10 strands and you do $12.50 times, 10 strands, your cost for that tree is $125. So let's just assume that you're going to sell 10 strands. But this is where people get in trouble is they're like, oh, I'm paying $12.50 for a strand. I better charge, 3 times my markup because that's $37 a strand. That feels really like, I don't know a customer that's going to pay more than that. But you have to understand is from an operational perspective, strand work is actually substantially more work than roof lines because they take just as long to tear down as they do to put up.
So long.
Roof lines, you're at an 8 times markup. Right? And you're profitable.
Yeah.
On tree work, what'll happen is you're going to tree work, bush work, anything like that. What's going to happen is you're going to be like, oh, my average ticket's way higher, right? Because it's like, oh, let's just say you went like, I'm going to charge 4 times for what my cost for the strands is. So let's just say you went $12.50 and you charge $50 a strand, right? You're going to be like, okay, like that seems pretty high. Maybe I'll just quote it at $40 a strand because like that's whatever. And so what's going to happen is like $1,000 of tree work versus $1,000 of roofline work. You're going to be getting like really similar tickets, but your profit on the roof lines will be substantially higher. So I would rather you mark up trees even more, get more nodes on that than you think like would be realistic, but maintain profit. Because what's going to happen is your average ticket's going to be so high, but then your product costs are going to get so out of control that you're going to be like, damn, like I don't know what to do. Because as you scale, for context, as you scale, your labor is going to get more expensive. Your insurance is going to get more expensive. Like you're not going to be as efficient on your second and third crews as you are when you were running everything yourself. And so you have to pay for that. So, okay, let's start there. And then do you do wreaths or do you do anything else like that?
No, so we're going to add wreaths. We're going to add the stakes, everything like that.
Ground stakes. Okay, cool. So, okay, now I know the context. Your roof line pricing, you got yeses there. Your closing is obviously decent, so I don't think we need to change anything there. Strand prices, if you could get your strands somewhere closer to like closer to single digit cost per strand, you have a lot more wiggle room on profit. Like we charge anywhere between like early season returners, like maybe 49 a strand, to peak season we're at like $58 to $60 a strand installed because I know the labor it takes to come down.
Then that's for tree wraps and cactus wraps.
Tree wraps, everything else. Okay. Yeah. You can go a little bit cheaper on bushes because bushes are like easier to unwrap because it's a bigger surface area. But for the most part, especially on cactuses, they're a nightmare to do. you're doing it with a pole. You have to understand that tearing those down will kill you compared to roofline teardown. And so the bigger your book of business gets with greenery and trees, the more laborsome your teardown gets. And like, there's nothing worse than having, you know, $150,000, $200,000 profit at the end of the season and then losing 40, 60,000 in labor for teardown because you sold so many trees, you didn't account for how much the teardown actually cost you labor wise.
I like that.
Makes sense?
Yep.
Cool. So the thing is, though, the temptation for everybody listening, and specifically for you, is you're going to have competitors that are stupid. And you're going to have competitors installing trees for $25 a strand. And you're going to lose jobs. But you don't want those jobs.
I like that.
So what we're going to do is we're going to fix the marketing problem or get better at marketing so that you can sell, you have enough lead volume and quality lead volume that you can sell what you need to be to make sense without like, you know, like basically white knuckling and trying to close every single deal because you don't have enough lead volume. Make sense?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So that's a big thing here with wreaths. With wreaths, like a lot of guys in the market that care a lot more about revenue and don't ever say their profit numbers. A lot of those guys like get a wreath for like 100 to 150 to $200 and then sell it for 350 and be like, oh, I'm going to make my money back the second year. No, make your money back the first year. Like if you're getting $100 wreath, you're installing that for like absolute low end, 375. Better end, we're installing wreaths for like 450, 500, 550, depending on size. Wow. And I've showed you our quote. Like you've seen them approved.
Yeah, with like bows and stuff, iron bows on them, make them look a little fancier too.
Yep. So okay, let's go marketing. Your product's right in line. I don't need to do that much there. Let's go marketing. So for everybody listening, they did yard signs last year, 50 of them, word of mouth, no A-frame, no Facebook ads, no Google ads, no referral program, and you didn't even have returners to sell. So great. Let's start here. For marketing, this is what I would do. You did 50 yard signs. Where did you put those yard signs in proximity to your service area? Did you put out 30 of them? You just put them on street corners?
Yeah, corners in front of neighborhoods, on the street signs, everything.
Okay.
We did one that was really, really successful. That was like you're coming up to a road roundabout, and we put it right when you're supposed to start slowing down, so everybody saw it. And it got removed 3 different times, but we replaced it every single time because I was out there all the time.
Okay, so yard signs work in your market really well. So like anything in marketing, what we do is we scale something until it breaks. So if you did 50 yard signs last year, so I'm actually going to share my screen. This is what we're going to do. Standby marketing plan this year. All right, this is going to look ugly. I don't care. It's just going to be sauce. So this is what you're going to do. I'm going to share my screen. Make sure none of my tabs that are showing are giving away industry secrets. Okay, can you see my screen, Caden?
Yes.
Okay, so marketing plan this year, you're going to add a 0 to the yard signs. And let's account for your marketing starts on October 15th. So you have essentially October 15th, November 15th, December 10th. You have 55 days of this sprint. Now, if you want to do stuff earlier in October, that's fine, but you have 55 days of marketing, okay?
Okay.
So I like to go in terms of weeks. So what I mean by that is 55 divided by 7 is you have 7.8 weeks, so call it 8 weeks. 8 weeks of marketing, okay?
Perfect.
Because the earlier you get into October, like the less juice you're going to get on the marketing. You can do some of this stuff in September, October if you want, but for easy math on like mega scaling, let's just call it October 15th, okay?
Okay.
So you're going to do 500 yard signs. So what you're going to do is you're going to divide 500 by 8. So you're going to put 62 signs out a week. 62.5, but you can figure it out. 62 signs out per week, right? And I'm actually just going to do this to make it really easy.
Nice.
So this is old school last year. This is what you're going to do this year. So 62.5 signs per week. What you're going to do is you're going to go to the U.S. Postal Service's EDDM website. So USPS EDDM. You're going to find the richest areas by income. And then you're going to route out 62 signs per week. So let's just say you do signs Wednesday through Saturday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You do 4 days a week. That means each day you're putting out 15 and a half signs. So call it 16 signs a day, 4 days a week. Got it?
Okay, 4 days, which, say those days again.
You can
which
choose
days?
whatever days, but I like doing it on the weekends, like closer to the weekend. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, be 4 days.
I like that.
And then do them at night. And you're going to do that every single week, whether it's you or your employee. And you're going to do so much volume that your phone is going to ring off the freaking hook. Okay.
Good. Let's run it.
Okay. So then word of mouth, you got referrals last year. So now what you're going to do is you're going to implement the gift card referral campaign we've talked about. For anybody that doesn't know, it's on my YouTube. You're going to give all of your customers a $100 gift card to you. On the back of the gift card, the back of the gift card is going to say referred by. You're going to write the customer's name who just got the job done. So you just did Tim Smith's install. Because you just did an install for Tim Smith, you tell him, hey, give these to your neighbors. Your name is written on the back. Every time your neighbors redeem these, we're going to send you $100 to insert steakhouse in Tucson, insert whatever. But you want to make sure it's clear, it's tracked on the back, all of that jazz, rock and roll. What you're going to do is you're going to put gasoline on your referral campaigns and crank it that way. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. You're going to add the A-frame. You're going to get, how many vehicles are you running?
4.
4 install vehicles?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to get 2 A-frames per truck. One goes right outside the vehicle. One goes at the entrance of the neighborhood when you're installing. 2 A-frames per truck. So that means you're ordering 8 A-frames. How much were your A-frames last time you bought them? Like $150 each? $120 each?
No, I actually bought 4 more. We just get them on Facebook Marketplace. I paid $20 each. It was crazy. Brand new. They're sauced. It's
okay.
Facebook Marketplace.
So let's say with inserts, and anybody listening, easy math. Like let's say that you can find them and finagle the inserts for them for $65 an A-frame. Easy math, $520 cost for your A-frames. Got it?
Perfect.
Okay, cool. So I'm actually just going to model this too. Let's say you're using dope marketing, and let's say you're getting signs for with stakes for $5 a sign. You can get them less, but let's just say $5 per sign. So you're going to spend $2,500 on yard signs. Got it?
Perfect.
Gift cards are going to cost you pretty much nothing. So let's say like less than $200. And then this is where it's going to get fun. You're obviously you're an HSA member, so obviously you're running Facebook ads and it's working.
Yep. This is where it's going to crank.
Yeah. So what you're going to have to do is, so for Facebook ads, you're on Snipey lead because speed to lead on these is going to be super important. So you need Snipey, which you have, which is great. And then for your Facebook ads, over let's say 55 days, I want you scaling up to $75 a day on Facebook ads. Because now for context, for everybody listening, like they've already done 100,000 last year. They already have, what do you have on the books this year? 150 already?
Yeah, 100,000. So we got 98% of our customers to repeat this year.
Okay, cool. So we're going to spend $75 a day on Facebook, which is $4,125 over that. What is it? How many days? 60. How many days is that again? 60 days?
55, right?
Or 55 days, yeah. 55 days. So,
and honestly, Steve, I think we might be able to crank that up even more too, just because obviously it's so profitable. Like window cleaning, we're running $80 a day.
So you can change it, but what you want to make sure is you want to scale up. So you can scale up if you want to, but okay. This is just really easy numbers for modeling. This is going to be your minimum based on your rates. Like, you know, right? Like if you're cranking and it's working, you can scale it to 100, 125, whatever else, but you're in Tucson. So you have to understand that like, once you start getting to like 100, 125, $150 a day, your frequency score is going to get out of control, meaning people are going to be seeing those ads a lot more because you don't have like hundreds of millions of people to show them to.
Right.
So, and then the other thing you can do is you can go, this is optional. So optional. You can hire a Google pay-per-click agency Let's just say easy math. I'm not going to recommend one on here because I don't use one anymore. But let's just say worst case, they're going to charge you $1,500 a month for management. And let's say you spend, let's just do easy math, $1,500 a month for management. And then let's say you spend, so let's say they're going to do it for 3 months because they might want you to just do a 3-month thing. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So what you're going to find is Google is actually going to be a more targeted, high intent lead than Facebook leads. So the one thing I want to like preface to you a little bit is you have a ton of success with Windows on Facebook because one, your sales processes are really dialed, but two, Windows average ticket is remove a 0 from a Christmas light average ticket. And so the reason I like you scaling into running Google pay-per-click ads is the zip code targeting on Google pay-per-click is a lot better. And so you can only tell this agency, all I want to do is run ads in these zips because these are the rich zip codes. Don't let the agency run them in all of Tucson. Don't let them run them in the poor areas. Only let the agency run them in the high income zips that you want to sell to. And then let's say you're spending $75 a day there. Your landing page on that needs to show your minimum. Otherwise, you're going to get a bunch of dog doo-doo leads. So you need to have your minimum on your landing page. Same thing with the Facebook ads. And so let's say 75 a day times 55. So 4,125 there. I promise you, you think I'm crazy because you've never run Google ads before. Google ads for Christmas lights will be really good in your market, like really good. So that would mean that your marketing cost there is 4,125 plus 4,500. So you'd be in 8,625 for Google ads total with management and spend. So for anybody listening, you don't account for what you're just spending on Google pay-per-click. You account what the management fee costs, the setup fee costs, and what they're spending on Google. That make sense?
Yeah.
This is optional. You don't have to do this, but if you want to mega scale, like you're not going to be able to spend $500 a day on Facebook. You're just not. There's just not enough people there. So what you have to do is you have to diversify. And why Google is so good in Christmas lights is Google, they are searching for Christmas light companies.
Right,
Facebook, you are interrupting them to search. Make sense?
Yep.
So this is like, for anybody listening, the reason I say Google's optional is like simply because you don't have to do it, but if you want to play with the big boys are running Google ads.
Perfect.
You got me?
And what would you say right now, Steve? Like the actions right now. So for like Facebook ads, should we already start and say, hey, like a August deal?
Yeah, you can test. Like you can test right now at like maybe, start at $40 a day, $50 a day, whatever. Just test some summer special stuff. $150 discount for booking in August. $150 discount for booking in September with deposits, anything like that. You can test it, but I wouldn't you'll sell some. We sell some in August, September, but for the sake of this conversation, I just went off of like the main.
Yeah, absolutely.
Selling months.
The main start of October.
Yeah,
basically.
because you have to understand that like the second it starts getting close to Halloween, people start thinking about Christmas because they start seeing Christmas in Home Depots. You got me?
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. Okay, so for your marketing expenses to model for this year, you're at 8,625. Let's just assume you do Google, okay?
Yeah.
Let's assume you do it, and let's assume those numbers are right. You might be able to find cheaper agencies, but I'm just like giving you worst case scenario that I know will make sense with your model. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so you are in for a grand total of $15,000. If you modeled exactly like this, you would spend $15,970 on advertising. And then what's your goal this year to install?
400,000.
Give me your worst case if the sky started falling. If the sky started falling and you and all of your employees got COVID, what's the lowest number you think you'll do this year if everything went wrong?
Everything went wrong, probably 200 base.
Okay, so 200 your worst case number, right? So worldwide,
maybe that's high hopes.
Worldwide epidemic, right? So I like to model everything off of worst case, best case, and then moderate case. Okay.
All right, let's do worst case then. Like we couldn't even do our repeats. I mean,
So
like
yeah,
you
let's
said.
say two. No, I think 200 is a pretty normal number.
Do you think so? Okay.
So yeah. So what's crazy about this is if you do the math here, 15,970 is what percent of 200,000? I forgot a zero. Right. So that means that your marketing expense is actually 7.9% of revenue, which is still low.
Yeah.
Right.
Really low.
Like a lot of like, I'm going to try to get my marketing expenses, even with how established we are, closer to like, I want to spend like 15%. Like I'm going to crank it. So you're in this model, which all of the inputs you did last year and you got to 100,000. If you did it to this model, you are going to crank and only spend 7% of your revenue, 7 point, what was it? 7 point, I'll call it 8% of your revenue on advertising, which is extremely low. Like when I talk to a brand new business, I'm like, dude, you better be really good at sales or something, because like most of these businesses should be at like 15 to 25% or 15 to 20%, sometimes even more. So this is like financial modeling, right?
Yeah.
So if you wanted to crank, what you're going to do is like, as you start looking at all of these things, right? So as you start looking at like, you have tracking number on your yard signs, so you know how much business is coming straight from the yard signs. And then Facebook and Google, these you're just going to do every time, so you can't really scale those things.
Right.
So I'm going to highlight these because they're not scalable. Like you can't do more A-frames, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like you can't do more A-frames, you can't do more gift cards for referrals. So I'm gonna make those yellow. These are your scaling tools. So whatever starts working, you just crank what's working, because you know if like you're at a conservative number right now in terms of like marketing costs, but you can get this number up to like 15, 16%. So like, and still be profitable based on your product cost and everything else, right?
Right.
So you don't want to do that if it's going to start hurting, right? And so what I mean by hurting is like, just because you're spending 8% right now and getting, let's just say you're getting like a 10x return on ad spend, it doesn't mean you're going to consistently get a 10x if you doubled this number. You see what I'm saying? Like your return on ad spend might go down a little bit for various reasons. Your frequency score on Facebook can go up. There comes a point operationally where you'll get worse at selling leads at scale because there's so many leads that you can't get out to them fast enough. So like that's why it's like this is baseline number, but if nothing's breaking operationally, meaning your sales team's able to sell and quote fast enough, and then your install team is able to install fast enough, you want to watch this number. Because what's going to happen is if you start getting booked 3, 4, 5 weeks out, then your close rate's going to get worse.
Yep.
Because people are not going to buy on November 1st if they know that they're not going to get their lights till December 10th.
Yep, absolutely.
Make sense?
Yeah, what's your kind of turnaround from like, let's say November, right? Obviously, you guys are packed. November 1st, a quote comes in, they approve it. When are you installing?
So we were aggressive. Like last year, we were installing 15,000 a day, sometimes more, right? So 15,000 a day, which meant that like we caught up within like a 6 or 7 day run rate in early November. So sales was lagging about a week behind installs. And it's kind of this cat and mouse game, right? Where sales has to keep selling, but that's where you want it. And this is why I say charge premium prices, because the guys that are broke but brag about revenue in all the Facebook groups, they brag about being booked out by 3 months. That's not a flex, because I would rather be charging premium prices, close at a lower rate, but making a ton more profit, and then playing cat and mouse, because the high premium customers that pay for convenience, those customers are not going to want to wait 4 or 5 weeks. And so that's where it becomes like much more aggressive on like the cat and mouse sales game. The second you start being 2-3 weeks booked out, your close rate's going to suffer. So we were, I think the closest sales got to, or operations got to sales in November was 5 days. So, and the furthest it got was like 12, 13, 14. And that was like right around like the week before Thanksgiving. So like on November 10th, we were selling jobs to get installed on the 23rd.
And that close rate went down?
A little bit, but not bad. It started going down once once it was like, oh, we're gonna get our lights after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants Thanksgiving, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And
Families
so
coming over. Everyone wants to see the gorgeous lights.
yeah, exactly. So like that's where the built-in demand kind of starts to happen, where like it starts to get worse, right? So the quicker you can have your install teams going, the better. And so as an owner, you need to understand that like a better problem to have for a business is you having to only run 3 crews in late November or early December than bidding cheap and stacking deep, having a bunch of expenses, a bunch of people going out, but you're just selling it for $7 a foot, $6 a foot, $5 a foot, just to
Yeah.
keep guys busy. I would rather have you ripping higher average tickets and scaling it up and being closer between sales and ops than the alternative. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So
I'm glad that you brought that. Goes perfectly into the next question is, if we can jump to it. So building your sales team and your install team. Let's go over the sales team first and kind of like what's worked for you and what hasn't, and then your install team. How deeply are you training these guys? Is it like a, hey, I mean, because it was pretty easy for us for the first year, like this wire goes here, this wire goes here. Don't cut the wire if it's plugged in, type of thing. You know, like did that happen? Yes, it did, but you know, it was a quick learning
my
lesson.
guys we've cut plenty of live wire.
Oh yeah, I've cut one, and that was
Okay.
a. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about sales first. So what did you sell? Like, what was your sales process last year?
So our sales process last year was super easy. I was the sales. I was all of the sales.
Okay.
Like
Walk
as
me
soon as
through.
I
I
got an
submitted a
install
quote.
team,
I called your yard sign. Walk me through the process from start to finish.
yeah, I set up a time when I can come. Usually it was like the same day. I'd go out. I'd measure the property. I'd take the picture with the app on the iPad. I'd design it. I'd sell you it, and then we put you on the books for either the next day, or the day after to install.
Okay. Were you designing in person and creating a deposit in person, or were you sending them a quote?
No, I was doing everything in person. I would show them the design, and I'd get the deposit right then and there.
Okay. Designed in person,
Deposit
quoted
in person.
in person, sold with 50% deposit.
Yes.
What was your take rate on people that deposited in person versus like send me the quote, let me talk to my husband?
So in person, we'd get pretty much. I think it was 73%. Like it was quite a bit of people.
Okay. So 73% of your yeses came from in person, 27% came.
AM here. Yep.
Okay. Closed in person. 27% got the quote and closed at a later time. I know you're probably not going to have this number, which is okay. But at $8 a foot, like you're not selling everybody that calls you. Do you have any idea what your lead to close rate was? Like how many leads you got versus, and I know it's really unfair to ask because I know you didn't have Snipey Lead last year and it was just starting, but like, what was it? 50% of leads?
No, honestly, I would close a lot of people. Like that. I mean, I was very, very confident in it. I specifically remember. I think like I didn't ever get more than 10 people to say no. So we closed pretty much everyone that I talked to.
And what was your
So
average
again,
ticket?
I'm not sure, but
Okay. What was your average ticket last year?
our average ticket was.
Just, you did 100,000. How many jobs did you do?
Let me see. Hold on. I actually had that number.
Okay, go ahead. What was your average ticket?
Okay, so our average ticket was $2,457.
Okay, so 2,457.
Yes.
So you did 40 jobs.
Yep.
So you were doing a lot of like front, sides, back of the house.
Yeah, we did a lot. Like
Okay.
but here's the thing. Like we got a couple jobs. Like we landed big. And or if you're asking just residential, like we got a couple Chick-fil-A's that their ticket price was $8,000.
Yeah, so you just did
Yeah.
40 jobs. It averaged out. That's fine. Yeah, that makes sense. So average ticket was 2,457.
Yep.
And it was 40 jobs?
It was more than 40 jobs. I know that because we did, like I said, 107. So it's 43.
Okay. So, and you did, what was your total? Like, give me the exact number of revenue you brought in. Let's just get exact on this.
107. What?
Yeah, let's just get exact. What was your top line sales? Let's get exact. I don't want to do round numbers. What was the total number you sold last year, down to the dollar?
Let me pull it up. All right, my thing's gonna make me log into it.
Okay, we got you. All right. So you did,
So-
what was your total sales?
Total sales was in revenue $107,354.
And you did 43 jobs.
43 jobs. Yep.
So you had a $2,496 average ticket.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So perfect. You close at a really high rate. What's going to happen is, depending on how aggressive you get in tree numbers, depending on if you raise your roofline pricing, anything like that, like your close rate might go down. Your close rate's also going to just go down based on volume, and that you're not going to be the person selling everything. No one's going to be a better sales rep than you.
Right.
So that's just part of scaling, which is fine. So what you're going to do is, do you have salespeople available right now? Like, how many salespeople do you have?
I just have one sales guy available, and that's because I haven't reached out to a lot of people. So
Okay.
I want to start. I feel like building my team now, so that we'll be
so
ready.
this is where a lot of people will disagree with me, but I have one of the largest average ticket residential only Christmas light businesses that I've ever talked to in the nation. And so, like, again, there's plenty of ways to skin a cat. I've seen guys get to $1 million doing all virtual quoting and doing 500 roof lines a season. I got to 800 something thousand, like 808 something like that thousand on a like 203 or 204 jobs, whatever it was, something like that. So my average ticket's really high. So when people say like, I can't believe he's saying sell in person. Well, it's like, yeah, if you have a $3,800 average ticket, then you can tell me I'm wrong, right? But like, that's like, and I'm not trying to sound arrogant. There's just so many people that build their business a certain way that it's like, yeah, like I get it. Like I get, like you built it to whatever by virtual quoting. I built mine to this by in-person quoting. So for the context of this call, you did 100,000 last year in-person quoting at a really high close rate. So let's just model off of that.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, for half the season I was installing, so I feel like even if I am with the team for a little bit, I can continue to build that sales team, but get a lot more reps.
Yeah, so this is where your first operational bottleneck is gonna come.
Yep.
It's gonna be how fast can you get out to quotes. So for sales staff, if you have one closer and he's running around all over, because last year you were getting probably, if I had to guess, like 4 to 5 leads a day in peak season, right?
Yeah.
So like this year you're gonna get 12 to 18.
Yeah.
Right.
I was thinking like 20. Like I want to.
Yeah, let's just call it 15 for easy numbers. So 15 quote requests. Were you pre-qualifying these people last year on the phone?
No, not at all.
So you were just going out there to anybody?
Yep, pretty much.
So you're going to want to pre-qualify them with the minimum a little bit. So let's say 15 quote requests.
And then you're not showing your screen too, Steve.
Oh, shoot. Good call. Thank you. Thank you. So you're going to pre-qualify them. Let me pull this up. So 15 quote requests, you're going to disqualify, let's call it 4. So DQ4. So this means that in peak season, you're going to be having 11 in-person visits a day. One person cannot adequately visit 11 a day and build and mock up 11 quotes a day. They just can't. And then their follow-up's going to suck. Their touching base is going to suck. So the best way to mitigate this is you need someone that's not your closers to manage the phones first.
Okay.
So your sales staff does not make first contact. You need a office staff, someone managing the phones that gives them the basic rundown of what you do. We're not hanging Home Depot lights. We're doing the professional lights, all that jazz. So what we're going to do is you can have 1 to 2 office staff members managing the phones, and they book in-person quotes. So what happens then is let's just make easy round numbers for everybody. So let's say you DQ 5. This means you have 10 in-person quotes a day.
Okay.
That means you need 2 sales guys. So one closer can't do that, right? So
Right.
this, I'm going to make this red, because this does not, your model last year will not work this year at this scale. So your new sales model, 2 closers, 5 to 6 estimates given a day per day. So that's 10 to 12 estimates So now you're giving out 10 to 12 quotes a day, right? So if you're giving out 10 to 12 quotes a day, and let's say you're closing 50%, so let's meet in the middle. So let's say that let's just call it, let's be conservative, right?
Yep.
So let's say you give out 10 and you have a 50% close rate. So 50% close rate on 10 quotes a day. That means you're selling 5 jobs closed. And 50% close rate is after disqualifying the turd leads. So these are people that already know the minimum. They already know what they're getting into. You're presenting them pricing.
And what's your minimum, Steve?
We change it depending on the year. Like right now we're at 1,000. My website might say something different, but like when they get on the call, usually what we say is during the seasonality now, our minimum is $1,000, and then we'll go change it on the website, stuff like that.
Okay.
So let's take your average ticket last year then. Let's do easy math. So average ticket of $2,500,
Nice.
right?
Yep.
Just easy math. Times 5 closes a day. At that model, you would sell 2,500 times 5, which is pretty easy math, right? Is that 1,250? 12,500?
Yep.
So 12,500 of new business closed per day. And then let's model it off of a 55-day selling season. That would mean that you could, at this model, sell up to 687,000 in a season. What's going to happen, though, is it's like something's going to break along the way. Whether install leads go behind, this is just modeling what this model can accomplish if all of the stuff you told me is accurate and stays true in the next year.
Yep.
So that's your bandwidth. Like that's your operational bandwidth for sales, right? Like that's what this sales model can sell based on the modeling we just did financially. So if installing didn't matter, if weather didn't matter, if anything didn't matter, like this marketing funnel and sales process, given your results last year at a 50% close rate of already been pre-qualified people, that's the key one. So it's not 50% close rate of leads. It's 50% close rate of people who already know they're going to be in for about $1,000, something like that, have already said yes, come out. Boom. That's going to be about the number.
Nice. And I feel like 50% close rate too. I feel like we could get that up too. So
we're a lot lower than that.
Really?
Yeah, a lot lower. So I'm just going off the numbers you gave me. We're a lot lower.
Yeah. And what do you charge a foot again?
Peak season we were at like $12.97 a foot, but there were some times where we were down to like $9.97, $10.97, depending on like summertime and stuff like that.
But you guys are always at 12? Or say that once more.
Yeah, like depending on the year, last year we fiddled with it a little bit based on like summer demand and stuff like that. The lowest we ever went was $9.97 in like August, just like trying to get training jobs, which I don't recommend. But when you scale up to the size that we got to, like you have to like live training is super valuable. So we were for the first time giving like a few handful of jobs with like really intricate roofs. Like a decent like $9.97 a foot discount. Like they were doing $9.97 a foot with the handshake agreement that we could train on their house. We did that a few times. So I just never want to
tell them, hey, this is pretty much $3 less than we normally charge a foot.
Yeah, and then that's just a conversation. Like as an owner, I would call a few of these opportunities we had on like the 1 yard line in like August, September and say like, hey, here's business owner to homeowner. Like, this is how I can make it a little bit cheaper for you, but I need a little handoff. And again, for everybody listening, this is because I had 3 crews and 20 something installers that I needed to train. And I didn't want to train at a loss. I would rather train and take some revenue from it than just send 20 guys out to one house we weren't making any money on and then just sink literally, if I'm paying my guys $20 an hour and there's 20 of them. And so after insurance and everything, it's $29.50 an hour, like $590 per hour of training. We were doing it for, 20 hours. Like I'm out $11,800 in labor right there just off of training. Right?
So are you bringing someone that's, amazing? Like you're just a previous installer with a team of just non-experienced installers?
Yeah, your previous trainer. Yeah, so like what we do, and we'll get to that on the operations side. Let's finish sales and then get there. Yeah. So as long as you have 2 closers, this model stays the same. If you have 1 closer, just cut it in half, and that's pretty much what's going to happen. So that's a good way to model off of last year. Now, granted, every market's different. So for people listening, like Caden's in a market with a lot of rich retirees. This is what Tucson is. So if people are seeing these numbers, I'm going off of what Caden told me he did last year. So if you're in Dallas, your numbers are not going to look like this. I can promise you that. But a lot of guys have self-limiting beliefs, so it is what it is. So that's your sales model. Do you have any questions about that?
No, it just pumped me up a lot more.
Yeah, it's all math, dude. It's all math.
Yeah.
All right, so
I love it.
Let's go down.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, let's go down to operations. So let me put another checkbox here. Sorry, this is like.
And Steve, in your professionalism, you've obviously seen this. If we want to do $687,500, how many installers do we need?
What crews in your mind? Like what is your? So you said you're gonna have 4 install crews. Like what was your 1 crew last year installing in revenue per day?
So I don't know revenue per day, but they'd get. I mean, actually, again.
Well, how many days did you install last year?
6 days a week, and then we did 3 jobs a day.
Okay, so let's just go off of like how many. Like, do you have Jobber?
No, we got QuickBooks.
Okay, so let's just do easy. Let's just do the math. How many days did you install last year? October, November? Like how many install days?
November to December. Like we got a job late, like December 21st.
Okay, but like when 6 days a week were full, how many? So November 1st to when?
December 21st. Let's say, or 20. Or no, let's go. December. I think it was like 18th. December 18th.
So you were booked solid every single day in December up till the 18th.
Yes, but again, I was installing.
Okay.
Like half,
Okay, so let's call it November 1st to mid-December. So let's say that's let's call it 7 weeks of installing. Let's call it 8 weeks of installing, and then you were only working 6 days a week. So 6 times 8. So you had 48 install days, conservatively. Okay. So let's model off of that.
Perfect.
And you're running crews of how many people?
We had 2. We had 2 guys.
Okay, so crews of 2, and so if you have crews of 2, so 48 install days last year, and then you were at 1 crew last year.
Yep.
And that crew was doing about, on average, 2 to 3 a day.
Yep.
Okay. And this obviously wasn't perfect, right? Because there's some days
that's very, very rough.
There's some days you only installed 1. So again, guys, we're modeling off of like a first year thing. So like if you were to do the math on this, it would not add up. I'm just saying like that's a good baseline of what they are capable of doing. So when we model marketing, I just want to make sure that you understand and everybody listening understands. Like if we model off of marketing, we can say we spent this last year, we can spend this year and get similar results. When it starts to get hairy modeling is when you start doing an operation system where you weren't doing the exact number every single day.
Right.
So like you did not install 3 jobs a day at $24.50 for 48 install days last year.
No, because then we'd be closer to like 300,000.
Yeah, because if you did that, you would be at,
or more than that.
You'd be at 352,000 last year if you did it
Yeah.
every day. So this
Well,
is
and that's the thing too, is like half the season, like I was saying, November. So on my birthday, November 27th is when we got our first crew together.
yeah. So this is your bandwidth for installation this year.
Okay.
So where you're going to lack because you're not going to be there is like your crews of 2 will probably be more realistically like installing 2 a day, maybe 3 at best, because they're not going to be as good as you were for a while.
Right. Well, and like we have our repeat guys from last year,
Mm-hmm.
and like when I left, they were doing like big jobs. I mean, like a couple jobs. For example, like the Chick-fil-A job, let's say the $7,000 something job.
Mm-hmm.
They finished 2 jobs before that one. But we worked, I mean, in the nighttime,
Yeah.
like it was a 13, 14-hour day.
So as you get bigger, you want to control overtime and stuff like that. So let's just call it like, let's say that these crews of 2 can install 3 a day, because you're
Okay.
doing mostly roof lines, yeah?
We did like 99% roof lines.
Okay, so do you think that you can emulate 7350 across 4 crews every single day?
What do you mean?
So if each crew
Yep.
can do 3 installs a day at your average ticket last year of 2450, that would mean each crew is installing $7,350 a day.
I like with the honestly, yeah.
That's really aggressive.
I mean, again, maybe we just control, overtime a lot more. But like the guys that we have coming into the year, they're badasses. Like they'll do that, but finding 2 more guys to do that, to also fill that, is going to be hard.
It's gonna
Like
be a lot, and it's going to be harder than you think.
and exactly, like I'm not going to be there with them like
Yeah.
the whole time at first. So
So this is why we model off of like
conservative.
this is why we
Yeah.
model aggressively off of like worst case scenario, because like if it's Jack, like if Jack was on a crew, Jack with 2 or 3 guys can install 10 to 12,000 a day, like
Yeah.
legitimately.
That's awesome.
But what happens is like as you train, as you find new guys, as you do whatever else, like you can like, I just take it from someone who's done it and take it from anybody else. Once you start getting a 2nd, 3rd, 4th crew on the road, it's going to be really hard to maintain that volume. And so I actually, from like a coaching perspective here,
Yeah.
think based on the numbers you're doing, you would, because I don't want you to get overtime. I don't want you to burn your guys out, any of that, because overtime sucks, right? Like I think that you should run 3 crews of 3 guys instead.
Okay.
So here's how
3
it's gonna break down. Because, dude, in this current model, you're just not gonna like in the numbers that we're modeling off of your new crews, because you
So
say you
much
have
for a
dude, that
couple.
means that like if you had 4 crews installing 7,350 a day, you could install $29,400 a day. 0 chance you're doing that.
Yeah.
0. That's like one, you're not going to. Like, trust me, you're not gonna get that level of power in new crews you just trained up. And then 2, they're going to be moving too fast. They're going to be having overtime. Just trust me, it's not going to happen. And so for you and everybody listening, the guys like Jack can do that. Like if I had 4 crews of Jack and like 3 guys, we could install 48K a day.
Like my Lewis. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like it's not realistic. And so you have to like, you don't rise to the level of your best employee. You fall to the level of the systems of everybody else. So modeling, I think you're better off, because this doesn't even make sense. Like, this doesn't even make sense. Like 29,000 a day, which you're not going to hit. That would mean that you 29,400 a day would mean that you'd be installing 205,000 a week. It's not going to happen, like at all.
That'd be crazy.
So I think a better metric to shoot for is like 3 crews of really quality trained guys, like super quality trained, because what's going to happen too is the quality drops when you're not there. So like training there has to
9
go.
just bombshell dudes.
So more training and development, more attention to detail. Run 3 crews if you have the availability. Most guys don't have the availability, but you have window guys, so you do. And so I would say 3 crews at this number, And then that brings you to times 3. That brings you to still like 22,000, which is aggressive, but like, I mean, it's aggressive.
So,
But that's like your best case
3 crew
scenario.
guys, should they be able to do, like, let's say conservatively, again, like 2 installs a day? What does that put us at? Like, I feel like
Conservatively,
that's
like
a little
I
bit.
think that like if you're running crews of 3 and like you're modeling for worst case, I would say like yeah, 2, like modeling like the absolute baseline bare minimum. It'd be like if 2 guys were responsible for 4,900 a day, that would be like a dream scenario. You're never getting overtime. Like the product is quality, like all that jazz. Like I think that that's like pretty reasonable. So like 3
Yeah,
crews.
well, let's calculate it on that. Absolutely.
Okay,
Okay,
so like
so,
3 crews of 2. Make sense?
oh, instead of 3 of 3?
Or 3 of 3. Like either way, the math's gonna math. I think it's more reasonable to do 3 crews of 3. Then you account for kids getting sick. You account for guys calling out, anything like that. You account for accidents that happen. And so if you're one crew of 3 dudes, and they're doing 2 installs a day, that's $4,900 a day, and then you're gonna multiply that by 3 crews. That means that you're installing $14,700 a day. Best case, worst case scenario, that's what it is,
Okay,
right?
which is still great.
Yeah. So then if you're installing for like this year, you're going to be installing earlier. So let's say
Yeah.
you're installing this year. Last year you did 48 install days. This year you could probably get to 55, right? So if you did that, then your total bandwidth of this model would be exactly what I installed last year, which is 808,000.
And that's like a gigantic jump too. So, I mean,
So
even if
yeah.
we were
Yeah,
to
but
fund,
like you have to account for the things you don't know are going to come up yet. This is just
yeah,
modeling like if this model worked completely like flawlessly, this is what would happen, right? If you had 3 crews running a day of 3 dudes and everything went according to plan
yeah,
at every single time, this is what was going to happen.
yeah.
But
So 6 jobs a day, right?
yeah,
Like
6 jobs a day.
that's what we need. Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to happen like that. But
No.
this is just modeling.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
then it becomes let's play like devil's advocate here for like worst case scenario because this is what actual business owners do. Let's say you get into mid-November and somebody's mom gets sick and he's one of your crew leads, he says, Caden, I gotta go. Like, I'm cooked. I gotta go.
Yeah.
You lose a crew
Let's
lead
account for like a
mid-season.
whole crew going missing.
You lose a whole crew go missing. So then let's model it off of like, so now you have 2 crews running, $49 a day bandwidth times 2 crews. You're installing $9,800 a day. And then if you multiply,
That's a lot.
right, that's still a lot. So you multiply $9,800 a day and you have 48 install days, or excuse me, 55 install days in the new model, 55
500.
install days. Your worst case scenario here, assuming the worst, is now,
539,000.
yeah, like 470 grand.
Oh wait, where did I mess up?
I did 55 install days.
I did too.
So 9,800 a day.
Times 55.
Yeah.
I got 539,000.
Oh, I did. What did I do wrong? You're right. I just did it again. Yeah. So that's your worst case model. So now you're still hitting your goals.
But yeah, over 139,000.
Yeah. And so this is what's going to happen. Like we can model this all day long until you get in season and something breaks. And so like what I like, this is why I'm saying like for everybody watching these numbers, you're like, dude, this is crazy. Like you have to understand, like you have to model for best case if everything went perfectly perfect. And then also like worst case if everything went completely terrible.
Yeah.
And like, so if you're hiring 4 crews or 3 crews, you have to account that you're probably not going to run 4 crews a day. It's just not going to be realistic. People quit, people suck. That's the other thing. It's like sometimes like the 3rd or 4th guy just starts sucking. And it's like, you don't have time to like train a new install lead mid model. So like, this is a very realistic model. So you shoot for this, knowing you're going to pay less overtime. You're going to do all this jazz. Like you're going to cut guys early. And then if you fall to this, you're still incredibly profitable and your model looks great.
Yeah. And then, I mean, even if you get to, yeah, okay, that makes more sense. And let's say like, I mean, because again, our two guy crew last year, I mean, obviously you've been in this game way longer than we have, but it seems super efficient. You know, like someone's on the roof line putting them in, someone's feeding them to them. like what's the big other than like you said, someone goes sick, someone does something, and maybe we do like a crew of 3 and a crew of 2 to like let's say one goes missing or whatever. Is 2 like something that you're an absolute no about? It has to be 3.
No, I don't mind bigger crews as long as no one's standing around. So like,
Well,
let's go.
that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is I imagine 3 guys on a job, one standing around as like the executive, like, oh, this is supposed to go here, which you don't really need, you know?
Yeah, yes and no. So like a good model for you is like if depending on if you're let's assume you're not pre-bulbing every job because you're doing whatever. Let's say they're bulbing on site.
Yeah.
Let's assume that you have 3 guys. One guy, the second you get out of the truck, one guy greets the homeowner, right? And let's call that the wiring guy. So one guy greets the homeowner, says, all right, and he's going to do all your wiring. And then the other 2 are your roof line guy and then whatever else. And so what, like the way we would do it is the shift lead greets the customer, shakes their hand, tells them where they're going to go, tells them where the timer's going to go, all that jazz. And then they do all the power and wiring. So they go to the outlet, they make their extension cord, they do all that. They have their own ladder. And then the roof line guys are just screwing in bulbs and putting up blank wire with ends on each side.
Okay.
And so then they're doing that. And then once the lights are on the roof, the wiring guy is cleaning up any loose ends, all that jazz. Your roof line guy can also do that. And then maybe it doesn't matter how you do it. Then like the guy who greets the customer also like is the one doing like checking off your SOP checklist because he's like the crew lead. And then he's doing the tree work when there's trees. He's bulbing for the next job. If it's just a roof line and there's nothing else to do, he's pre-bulbing the next job. And like you just have stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah,
So
3-man
he's like,
crews.
if he gets done with the powering and wiring, make sure that he's busy with the next job.
And so you can make like on your SOP checklist, it's like, okay, am I make like do I not have anything to do question? And then there's like 4 checklists and it's like pre-bulb the next job, like pre-bulb the wire for the next job, prep whatever, do God knows what garbage cleanup while the guys are just tying off the last thing on the end of the roof, the other side, something like that. Especially because you're going to sell more tree work. 3-man crews actually aren't bad. Like if you were doing just roof lines only, then like you can get away with 2-man crews. But if you're going to do more tree work, you're going to do more wreath work this year, all that jazz, 3-man crews is going to be better.
Okay, perfect. That makes sense.
Because
I was
what
actually going to ask you that too.
What
It's
happens
like,
too, this is the other thing you have to account for. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. The other thing you have to account for too is like when you're trying to squeeze in the money we just modeled. Can you hear me?
yeah. I can hear
Okay, you were skipping for a second. Okay. So when you're trying to squeeze in the money that we just modeled, what happens is like one bad day puts you 14K in the hole or $10,000 in the hole, right?
Right. That's
And so
crazy.
this is why I say like model for worst case. So when it rains on a day and you guys like if you have a calendar full of 7 days and every single day has jobs and then it rains on Thursday, cats and dogs the entire day, and your crews are like, hey boss, like getting on an aluminum ladder while it's pouring rain in Tucson while like drainage, because like,
Yeah.
right, like Seattle guys will laugh at this. Arizona, when it rains, like it doesn't drain. Like there's no
No,
gutters.
it
It's
just stays
standing water everywhere. Your crews will be slower. It'll be more dangerous. There's been times where I've called off all of the crews for a rain day.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
what we're doing here is we're accounting for like, if you're saying I'm going to install $14,700 a day, 55 days, and you don't think it's going to rain once, you don't think a guy's going to get sick, a
Yeah,
crew
you're
lead's going to get the
batshit
flu,
crazy.
whatever, like it's not going to happen. You're insane. And so this is accounting for like, if everything was working perfectly, we could do this. But if something, when something inevitably goes wrong, we're not moving every single scheduled install by a day or 2 days because we got behind the 8 ball.
So let's say that happens, right? Shit hits the fan, it rains. For let's say like 2 days, just brutal. Like you said, Arizona rain is just crazy. It literally just floods every single time it rains.
Yep.
And you have 7 days booked out. Are you just calling those guys ahead, your customers that are already scheduled, and saying, hey, rain happened, we're behind 2 days, can we just push you back 2 days? Is that how you're going about it?
You can do that, or like I recommend scheduling. Are you going to run Sundays this year?
We might have to.
So
I don't like.
I recommend using Sundays as buffer days. So do like one cruise scheduled on Sundays, And then like, because there's one crew scheduled on Sundays, then like that can be your makeup ground day. So like, you know, you count for the worst, expect the best, right?
Yep.
So like, if you look at, like, let me show you November of last year. Is there
I'm
a way
scared
for
to
me
see
to,
this.
is there a way for me to not show names on here? Let me see.
Can you just edit it when you post a video?
Yeah, but I don't want to do that. It's going to take a while. I don't care. It doesn't show anything really that crazy. So,
And what are you using as your software to schedule? Are you a jobber?
Jobber. Yeah.
Okay. Do you recommend me transferring over? Because I feel like everybody and their mom is using Jobber. I
Jobber's
feel like
really
people
good for
just-
Christmas lights. It's really
Okay.
good. I recommend it. Okay, hold on. Let me pause this for a second. All right, so I had to blur the names because a lot of Arizona people watch me, and I don't want to put my customer names for their own privacy and just for a variety of reasons out there. So like, here's an example of my Jobber calendar. It's going to be blurry, but it's blurred to protect my customers' privacy. So here, let me show you. So like, this is the week, right? So, like if you look, like this is Sundays. See how much less stuff is on Sundays? Like if you zoom in, like these ones that look shorter, like you can't even tell on the screenshot, but like 2 of these are service calls and like 2 of these are service calls. So we're doing like very little on Sundays. So this is like a screenshot of in November. So look at what like the week looks like in November versus like what Sundays look like. We have like 1 crew rotate on Sundays, sometimes 2. So like if there's a bigger job, like an $8,000 job, I'll throw like 2 crews at it on Sunday, cut the one early. Once they knock it out, they'll be working for like 4 hours that day. And then we're accounting for the potential of something terrible happening during these 6 days. And then all we have to do is say like, hey, because of the rain, like we're going to slide you in here. And then we just slide that person into the Sunday 2 days from now. And like, because it rains, everybody understands.
Right.
So
yeah.
that's how you plan for the worst without like completely shackling your entire business to doing a certain amount of revenue per day.
So you're okay with putting like 1 job on Sunday?
Yeah.
Just like get them scheduled, but never fill the day.
Yeah. That's what we did.
That's right. I like that.
Yeah. That's how you account for rain. That's how you account for Arizona things that no one else understands. All that jazz. So cool. That's the operation side. So your model makes sense on ops. Like it makes that makes sense. Worst case, you're running 2 crews. Your bandwidth to install is 539,000 if everything worked out perfectly, which it's not going to. You're gonna have days where you do less than your day goal.
We're gonna accept it. We're gonna move forward.
Yeah, exactly. But this is like you don't rise to the level of your best team. You fall to the level and competency of your systems. So this is what that's for. So okay, we've talked ops, sales, marketing. You got anything else?
You kind of touched us on this a little bit, but for pre-bulbing, are you actually pre-bulbing before you go out? I heard people do like 100 feet at a time, just like stay ahead. But do you guys actually do that, or are you just pretty much because you have 3 guys on the crew, you're just having 1 guy bulb?
Depending on like, it's all fine and dandy to like say, yeah, we want to pre-bulb. It's another thing to actually execute it on it consistently. And so typically what we do is like, we try to pre-bulb if we have time. And so usually it's like, as the guy who's wiring is finishing up the last part and there's like 5-10 minutes of hanging around, grab the lights out of the back of the truck, start pre-bulbing 100 feet for the next job. Just so when we get there, you can start putting lights on the roof. But there's some companies that will go as far to like, they have a dedicated bulber where all they do is just bulb runs of 100 at a time. I don't hate that idea. But when you run a 3-man crew, you don't need to do that.
No, okay. So you're not necessarily pre-bulbing, but you're like if it equates to it, you are.
Yeah, pretty much.
Perfect. Okay, I like that. Let's see. Okay, so again, right now it is August 12th. Mm-hmm. We're going into our big first year where we actually have SOPs. We have a badass crew. What is something that you guys wish that you did the first year that you actually scaled so much that you wish you did to scale it even more, even be more prepared? You know, should we start taking the lights out of the boxes, categorizing them? I mean, should everything just be absolutely ready to, you know, start?
Crystal clear SOPs and training for the other crews. Like spend more time on training and development than you think you need to, and then spend more time scripting and talking through sales on exactly what they need to do than you think you need to.
Okay, and then are you training these crews now? Like, let's say, obviously, I need 2 crews in total, but I need 6 guys in total. I have 2 guys, 2 rock stars. Should I start finding those guys now and start training them now? Are you paying them right now, or are you just saying, hey, train with us and then we're going to pay you? How does that work?
So our employee orientation date is like the second week of September. You probably don't need to be that early. You can probably do it closer to like late September, early October. And so we have like an orientation where they like all their I-9s, all of that stuff just gets knocked out of the in-person orientation. We like give them a meal. It's like a company-wide meeting. And then the following week after that, so that happens on a Friday. The following week after that, we do like the training days where we have like some dummy jobs that we've convinced to let us do in September. And so we were training live on these jobs. And so it's like Jack will run some basic stuff for everybody. And then each crew lead that has experience in the past will train the new guys. And then we spend like a lot more time. Like every employee needs to be cross-trained on every single thing. So one guy's not just a roofline guy all the time. Like he needs to be just as good at doing a roofline as he is to, like doing a tree. And he's just like the only things that are different. Like the one thing that the crew leads do exclusively is wreaths, because like hammering a nail in or doing a screw or something like that. Like I don't want just like everybody doing that. But then everything else, everybody is cross-trained. Everybody needs to understand how the wiring works so that they don't screw something up. And so like the more attention to detail you have on that. And so what I recommend doing is like get like some sort of voice recorder, whether you're using like the AI thing or anything else. Voice record the entire process of training an employee from zero. Voice record it in like your iPhone notes, something like that. Take the transcript, put it into Otter AI, grab the text version of the transcript, every single thing you said. Take that, put it into ChatGPT or Grok or something else and say, I was training someone this day. This is the transcript. Make me an itemized checklist of every single thing that I told this person to do or what to do or anything like that. And then you take that checklist. You have your baseline version of your SOPs, like that you didn't have before, like standard operating procedures. And now you have like a very gross, rough draft version of your training manual. And then what you do is you take that and you take that to a new employee and you use that as the baseline to train them on. And then as stuff comes up that you see in that second time training somebody, but now you have like the AI powered checklist, now you fine tune it. Oh, it didn't catch this very well. I need to add this. I told him to do this. Need to add it. And now you have like clear SOPs of like training, like exactly what you say. So now what happens is now employee 1 and employee 10 all have been given the exact same blueprint of what to be trained on and what the expectations are, because it's checklist style. If you try to just go off your brain, you're going to train one person really well on one thing, and then another person's not going to get as much attention on that thing, or vice versa.
And we've seen that even with our window cleaning business. So before the orientation, you're finding these guys, obviously. And are you going through like process? You're obviously interviewing them. They're pretty much ideally going to be part of your crew even before the orientation. Right.
Yeah. So like we're hiring pretty aggressively right now. Like I think Jack's got like 10, 15 installers already in the wings. And then we give the installers like $100 to refer their friend. And if their friend lasts 2 pay periods, they get the $100 kicker for finding the friend. So we do that to get like installers to bring friends. Yeah. And then just keep going that way.
Yeah. You talked about that a lot, which I think is genius.
Yeah. It helps because good employees typically have good friends.
Right, exactly. And then are you guys, I mean, I wish there was a way to, get everybody, like for us, we have like 3 different parts of town, like Marana, Vale, and Central. Is there any way to, pre-get a route other than, I mean, people are calling you, you're getting them scheduled. You're not really running routes until pickup, right?
What do you mean by that?
So let's say we got a person in Marana, which is north, it's Central. They call us the next day. And then the next day, someone in Vale calls us. And then we have another guy that calls us in Miranda like 4 days later. But
Mhm.
we already did the Miranda one, or we're going to do the Miranda one today. Are you trying to fit all of the Miranda jobs in one day?
Yeah, ideally. So like if you
Yeah.
have like that's so okay, let me give you something tactical. So when you go in Jobber and you're actually doing when you get a approved quote, what you
Yep.
do in Jobber is like you give somebody a quote, they click approve, the quote's sitting at like approved quote. What you do is you in Jobber, you go convert to job and then check the box that says like create unscheduled job. And then what it'll do is it will show it on the map as a orange pin, but like it's not scheduled yet. And so what you can do is like once you get a bunch of jobs booked, what you can start doing is as you're making your schedule a week, 2 weeks in advance, you find the pins that are closest proximity to each other and schedule them that way. So like
Okay. Yeah.
so we'll like we give customers install windows. So like right now we're booking for the week of November 5th. Right? So like if you deposit right now, we're guaranteeing install for the week of November 5th through 12th. Right? And so what we do is we now have a backlog of, 20, 30 jobs for that week, but they're all unscheduled in Jobber on the map. And then we go into schedule, we see all the orange dots and go, okay, cool. Dot number 1 is 1 mile from dot number 2. Those ones are getting both done on Monday by crew 1. And then dot number 3 is down here in Vale, whatever you're saying, like whatever city.
Yeah.
And there's one that's 4 miles from him. Cool. Crew 2 is going to do those 2 that day. And then you just move on. And as you schedule them,
Okay.
the dots go away.
Yeah, I feel like that's the power of, getting people in the door early. So
Yeah,
that,
but
which is crazy. I feel like,
you'd be shocked at like sales volume. Like as long as your crews get within like 2 to 5 miles of like the next jobs, what you don't want is like job number 1 is 30 miles from job number 2. And that's just
right,
like not
exactly.
ideal. But in your model, you won't have that hardly ever.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say the furthest that we travel is about, well, now that we have this central location, everywhere is 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Everywhere, which
Yeah,
is
so
bad.
dashboard time is going to kill your profit. That's why this is super
Yeah,
important as you scale. Like cuz you're
yeah.
paying guys to be behind the wheel of a car. And so like the
That's,
difference between booking jobs that are like and let's model it, right? Like the difference between doing jobs that are 5 minutes from each other and jobs that are 20 minutes from each other is the difference between three extra labor hours a day for your entire crew,
yeah,
right?
that's absurd.
So like if you think about it, if you have a crew of 3, right, and they're going to 3 different jobs that are 20 minutes away and they're doing 3 jobs a day, they're spending, let's say, from the office to get to the first job 15 minutes. We can't avoid that, right? But then 20 minutes to get from job 1 to job 2, and then 20 minutes to get from job 2 to job 3, and then 20 minutes to get back home, right? So you can
Yeah.
essentially
That's
eliminate the middle part of it, depending on how far they're going out. And if you think about it, if you have a crew of 3 and they're making $20 an hour after insurance, taxes, everything, it's costing you $30 an hour. Let's just say easy math. And your crew of 3 is spending an extra hour behind the wheel of a car a day. That's a lot of profit gone over the course of a year. A lot.
absolutely.
But not only that, now they're rushing because they lost an hour of install time being behind the wheel of a car.
Yep.
So now
Yeah, so now you're trying to fill
now
out the
they're
days
rushing
and
jobs
everything.
because dude, like when we go like fully, I've showed the map before. Let me pull it up. Okay, so let me show you our teardown map from last year, because when you see the teardown map, you'll see what I'm saying is like why efficiency matters. So like here, I just put it up. It's gonna be blurry, but so like this is the jobber pins I was talking about. And so like when I'm
Yeah.
here, right, like we have some jobs out of our market that have been in business for a while, like we've been doing business with them for a while or anything like that. Like all of these represent an install. And so if you can see, I practice what I preach. This is the like wealthiest area in Arizona, right? Like there's so many dots that you can't even see because they're sitting on top of each other. Like look at that little cluster right
Yeah.
there. And
That's a
so
big
what
cluster.
happens here is like, dude, when we're installing in Arcadia or something like that, my crews are driving a minute and 30 seconds from job 1 to job 2,
That's crazy.
right? And so then what happens is like, then I'll just have a day where I'm like, okay, crew 2 on Tuesday is going to go do all of our like Chandler jobs, which is down here. And so then it's like, okay, cool. We're going to send crew 2 out there and they're going to knock these 3 out because this was a $1,500 job, this was a $3,000 job, and this was a $1,800 job, whatever. If they're smaller out there, whatever.
Yeah.
Then it's just like boom, 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 knock them off. And then, okay, cool. They're going to go back out there tomorrow. That way, If any service issues came up from the first night on these, they're already going to be out there. And then they're going to do these 3 tomorrow. And then the next day, crew 2 is going to do this. And so then it's like, now you have somebody out in that area every day installing. And then maybe the next crew, like, it's not perfect, right? Like, we have these are 2 pretty big jobs. And so, like, this is the part that sucks, is like dashboard time, but these are really profitable jobs. So we'll do it. I'll like send, I'll send crew 1 out to here, and then he's going to hit this on his way home, and then he's going to hit this on his way home, and then he's going to be back here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But
and
like,
then just because of like drive time and like miles per gallon and stuff, what are you guys doing for your work? Trucks, vans? Like, what do you suggest?
Yeah, if I could go back, I would do what we do now. So last year I added 2 more trucks. And then this year, because we install a lot of permanent in the summertime, like we wanted an enclosed van for like the saw and all that jazz. So current model, I have the old pickup truck was an F-150 with a trailer. And then if I could go back, I would have got the Chevy Colorados, not silver. We don't need the big ones. It's Colorados with extended beds. So they're 3 seats in the front, no back seat, extra long bed. And then you put a ladder rack on top. And so that's the best install crew lead vehicles, because the issue we had with vans was most of the vans are only 2-seaters. The vans we wanted, at least, with the tall tops. Like, most of them are only 2-seaters. And so for temporary, we have those extended bed Colorados. You can get them for like 20 grand with like relatively low mileage. And then we have the van, and then we have the truck and trailer. But if I could go back, I would just go all Colorados, and then all extended bed Colorados, and then 1 enclosed van for permanent.
Yeah, I'm glad you're saying that. Now that I'm thinking, I'm like, dang, we're going to have to strap someone right in the middle of our vans to do 3-man crews. So yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
There's a guy that I talked to on Facebook. He has a really big install business too. His name's Jared Chanowski. He added seats in his van. So he added a 3rd seat. I didn't even know you could do
that right in the middle.
I didn't even know you could do it, but he showed me on a Facebook post, and I was like, damn. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. I like that, because we love our van. I mean, vans, like, I'll argue with anybody, is so much better for like marketing and then keeping all of our stuff safe.
Agreed.
Which is nice.
Agreed.
So, but that's great.
Cool.
I think that's it, Steve. Again, this is absolute juice. So thank you. I know that you just poured into it, so hopefully this is valuable to anybody that's listening.
Yeah, dude.
Again, Steve definitely does preach what he says. He runs a badass temporary Christmas light business, so so much so that people want to pay him to come out and talk. So
I mean, it is what it is. It's but like, that's the thing, is that what people have to understand is, like, when you go to these conferences, when you go on these Facebook groups, everybody's lying. Like, everybody's lying about their numbers. Like 90-something% of people are lying about their numbers, or they just don't know their numbers. And so, like, what I know is going to happen when people watch this is they see when we talk about the modeling, like the operations thing and everything else, and they're going to be like, that's crazy. Like, his crews are only doing $5,000 a day with 3 people. My crews do 8,000. And I would just challenge everyone to say, like, did you actually do 8,000 for 55 install days this year per crew? Did you? No, you didn't. And so, like, what actual business, like, the truth of it is like, it's never going to bounce the way you model it to this year. That's why I said, like, give me worst case, give me best case. Like, when we start looking through the numbers, in your head before this call, you were like, I'm going to run 4 crews a day, and each one's going to install $7,500.
Right.
And it's like, I promise you they're not. And
it's just like a mental thing that I feel like.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, some people are going to make it seem like I sound like a hater or something else, but I can tell you with confidence, bigger jobs come up, smaller jobs come up, callbacks happen, weather happens, whatever else. You don't want to model off of, like, if we were redlining every single day, full capacity, nothing ever goes wrong. That's not how you want to model this at all. No. You want to model it off worst case, and are we still profitable at worst case? That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
So it's like, you plan for the best, you expect the best, plan for the worst.
Yeah.
Well,
let's kill it this year.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for hopping on.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate you, my man.
Of course.